Greetings and salutations, folks. My name is Nick, and welcome back to Forza Motorsport 7, where last time we did an endurance race that lasted an hour. So hopefully whatever we do from here on in does not take up that amount of time. Let us start with... Ooh, can I... Nah, that's a truck. Let's do a Sport Compact race. 5 races.
These top-tier sport compacts cram big performance into a small space. Built by manufacturers from across the globe, these cars are often the fastest version of a model. Besides a healthy dose of speed, they have aggressive suspension for cornering and body kits to fight air resistance. Think short.
Let's go with that one that I already own, because that means I don't have to worry about purchasing any new vehicle. Also, one of these days I should actually start paying attention to which area we're in and what roads I'm in, because I'm pretty sure I've been driving down the same tracks a few times. I just haven't paid attention to the names. So this is Homestead Road Circuit. Alright, here we go. Let's see if all of that practice on my unnecessarily long endurance race counted for anything. A little bit, maybe. Although that is a very tricky corner to negotiate. And this guy is slipping away a little bit farther than I would like. Which I wonder if their acceleration is better than my car, or their top speed. There we go. Again, this probably would matter a little bit. There would be probably more of a consequence to that if I had something besides cosmetic damage and it's raining. Well, at the very least, I'm in front. So I'm not exactly trying to fight my way to the front while also dealing with racing in the rain. Because that would make it a lot more difficult. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you for the boost. And I was able to negotiate that without having to rewind. Which, considering that I've spun out all the way onto the grass, is impressive for me, for my standards. I just have to maintain this for like 1 1/4 more laps, I think. Ah, thank you, Forza, for complimenting my good turn. and not mentioning how badly my bad turn was. Although I suppose, if the game's willing to be like, hey, you probably should rewind after that one, that's basically the game's way of saying, you know what, that last turn you did wasn't so hot. You really should probably rewind and recover. But I think what I'm trying to do, like especially what enabled me to actually have some degree of success on the endurance race, not to say that I didn't make any mistakes on the endurance race. There were a couple here or there, less than I would expect, is just trying to follow that racing line. I don't know if it's a crutch that I feel like I'm going to be relying on for a long time. I don't know if I will be able to succeed in this game without it. And I think one of those things that especially affects that is the fact that I'm always getting into different vehicles. Like, you look at, say, like, a game like Mario Kart, which is not a simulation game, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, because each vehicle you drive, whether you're playing as Bowser, Mario, Peach, like, everybody has their own weight, their own specific characteristics. But usually, for Mario Kart, you pick your favorite character. And that's it. That's who you drive. And you usually pick that driver, and you race all of the courses. You do the Mushroom Cup, you do the Flower Cup, you do the Star Cup. In Prague, the short track, you do all of the cups with that driver in 50cc. Then you do it again in 100cc. Then you do it again in 150cc. You usually don't do the Mushroom Cup as Peach, and then the Flower Cup as Mario, and then the Star Cup as Toad. And that's what playing this game kind of sort of feels like, because you're always switching weights and speeds. The types of because the types of vehicles you're driving are always changing. Excuse me. That means that the actual feel of the weight of the car, the speed of the car, is itself always changing from course to course. Meaning that, like, any idea in regards to, like, how fast you're going versus, like, when you should slow down on a particular course is always going to change, reflective of the type of car you're driving. Whereas in a game like Mario Kart, the idea is that you will eventually get more and more used to that one specific car that you're always driving. And I think that's one of those things that's going to make me rely on that racing line as we go on from car type to car type. Early on in the game, one of the things that the narrator said was that a Forza driver needs to be versatile because they're going to be driving a lot of different types of cars. And this is true. But that also means that you don't necessarily get as much training per car type. Excellent. I don't need to rewind that, Forza. That was perfect. I do not care if you do not recognize it as perfect. Because I am back in the lead. And that's something I noticed earlier on when I was playing, when I had switched from driving like the slower, heavier trucks and hatchbacks to the faster cars, was that just that amount of road that I needed to give to slow down before making a sharp turn had extended itself because of how fast I was going. And there are all the cones that I knocked down. That's okay. Those cones will live to see another race. I believe in them. Alright. Yep, that's fine. I don't need to rewind that one. I wonder, though, if I was playing with, something other than cosmetic damage, would the act of driving over the curb wear down your tire more and become problematic? I mean, I'm not going to try it out to find the answer for myself, because that is an element of this game's simulation that I don't believe I'm ready for. And maybe I'm not entirely interested in. At the very least, at the moment. Like, if I wanted to one day, I might see if this game actually does have one of those extremely long endurance races so that I could recreate the Ford versus Ferrari movie. And then, not to mention, like, its online options, but by that point, this game will probably have already reached its end-of-life status. And will not be really playable online. And I'll be instead looking forward to Forza Motorsport 8. Or Horizons 5, I think? They're on 4 of those, right? Or did they make a 5th one? I don't remember. But for this set of races, we've got 3 more to go. Ah, leveled up. Yeah, let's buy the car. Ooh. Our collection tier has upgraded. And now we're in Dubai. Alright, let us go get it done. Or at the very least, hope for the best. Excuse me, don't mind me, coming through. Actually, that was a pretty narrow straight. I'm surprised that I didn't actually just rear-end that driver. And then we've got a sharp right turn coming up. Excuse me. Sir, I said... excuse me. Alright, so we got a second place driver ahead of us. And a first place, sharp turn coming up. See, this area here, this tunnel, it reminds me of one of the best parts of the video game Watch Dogs, specifically the first one. I have not actually finished the second one, but I've actually finished the first Watch Dogs game, which overall, not particularly great. This has already been discussed at length in the past. But as somebody who whose hometown is Chicago, having a car chase through Lower Wacker Drive, hits a little bit differently than just a regular car chase through any given tunnel. I'm still trying to remember that, what's it called? Handbrake is A. I spent like a good chunk of this game convinced that handbrake was the left shoulder button, but that was because I was stupid. I'm not entirely sure what got me convinced in regards to that. It might be because maybe like there's a Grand Theft Auto game which uses a left shoulder button as handbrake. And I figured that makes sense to have the left shoulder button because your fingers are going to be already aligned with the triggers. So whatever buttons that you're probably going to be pressing, it's more likely you'll want them where your fingers are generally going to be resting. Although I suppose with a game like this, you're not really going to be using the right analog stick that much. It is even though my thumb is resting on the right analog stick, it's doing nothing. Like, that's just a natural state, I think, for myself because of how gaming has shifted over the years, especially like action gaming. And not just in regards to like first-person shooters, but even third-person shooters because of camera control. It's become that natural place for the right thumb to rest. Even though it's doing nothing there. Like, I could use it for camera control, but if I'm not facing forward, I will not know where I'm driving towards, and then I will crash. And it will be terrible. Ah, thank you, Forza. And then let's... I do like how the sound is still modified so that it feels like all these little things to make it feel like you are there, driving through the tunnel at high speeds. But then if the game did not have those effects, what would it have? All right, on to the next race. Whatever it might be.
You'll never get better just racing weaker opponents. Now how about challenging yourself by pushing up the difficulty?
Increase to above average? I don't know if I'm ready for that. Especially since I do have the capacity to make mistakes. Though... to be fair, I haven't had to use the rewind function this entire race. So maybe I could? I don't know. I'll think about it. Let's see how this night race goes, and then we'll go from there. And probably not, only because I don't want to necessarily make the rest of this playthrough trickier. Like, I generally play on normal anyway. In games where I'm more familiar with the style and genre. Excuse me. Thank you. Excellent. Although now I'm only in 7th. Okay, 6th. There we go. Only 1 lap to go? Or, I guess 1.5 laps. Plus this extremely. Yeah, that's very rude of you, sir. Only I can be rude to you, not the other way around. That's okay, there's another very sharp corner coming up, so maybe I can use this as an advantage to reconnect with this driver. Or not. Honestly, if there's anything that I need to learn in this game is that if I'm not able to catch up with a driver around a very specific curve, then the moral of the story isn't to drive super aggressively. The moral of the story is to just drive cleaner. Excuse me? All right. So now I've got 3 places to move up if I expect to get first. And the game is like, hey, you should play on a harder difficulty. I'm fine. Or not fine. Still, like, I'm still having a little bit of struggle. As is. Thank you. Alright. Now I've only got one person to pass up, and I could probably use that troublesome corner that's coming up to do so. Thank you. Excellent. And that took like a good, 1.5 laps for me to overtake the first place person. Maybe the moral of the story for that one is I shouldn't necessarily worry about increasing the difficulty if I'm still also relying on the racing line. If I ever reach a point in which I believe in myself to drive without it, then I know that I've reached a point in which I can increase the difficulty. But there are like a couple things that are going to happen for that to occur. Is that one, I need to be more confident in my own steering ability, my own braking, accelerating, just the basic mechanics. And two, I'm going to need to be more confident in my knowledge of the tracks. Which doesn't really exist just yet. That confidence, I mean. Alright, so we made some credits. I was going to say track loading. I'm like looking at the track loading while also looking at the credits. So we made some credits. Now we're going to Long Beach, the full circuit. Oh, is this the one with the awful turn? I think it is. Is this also the last track of this set? Yes, it is. Excellent. Let's get it done. Yes, this is the one. I know it because it says King Taco. Ah, no. Wow. That could have been bad. Alright, and now we've got another relatively sharp turn coming up here. But not as bad as that first one. Yeah, like this is a race with a lot of tight corners. Oh, and then there's that hairpin right at the end. Yeah, so it's that first turn that leads into like a really awkward cul-de-sac. And then this last turn. But we're not going to worry about trying to overtake. We're just trying to succeed the turn. Though we did happen to overtake second place. So at the very least there is that. And now I'm going to try to use this tight turn to pass this guy, or actually I'm just going to pass him by first. All right, and there we go. You know, I think I managed to make my way through all of these 5 sets without using the rewind feature a single time. I almost had to on, I think, the first race. I almost had to just now. I probably shouldn't speak too quickly because I'm just going to jinx myself. Yes, these are all good passes. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to jinx myself if I talk about how great I'm doing without using a rewind. But somehow I managed to get out of both of those bad situations without rewinding. So let's hope I am able to carry on throughout the rest of this race without using a rewind. I guess that'll essentially be, like maybe I might not be ready for the above-average Drivatar leagues, but at the very least I can tell that I am improving as a driver. I'm definitely not, I would definitely not consider myself a good driver. But I am significantly improved over where I started. Because like as I started, like even in the prologue, like I got what, 5th place in the first race, first in the second, 3rd in the third. There have been, I believe in pretty much every single set of races I've had to rely on rewind to some capacity. Ah, there's a giant flailing, wavy flailing inflatable tube man. So the fact that I'm able to actually succeed here without using rewind is my goal with the playthrough. I'm trying to avoid it. And at the very least, for one whole stretch of video, I did.
Trip number 3 to the podium. Looking good up there and on the track.
Thank you. I suppose in the meantime, though, got any suggestions for someone to play next? Leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.